We're here today with Dr. Keelin Redmond of Evoca Equine, and Dr. Redmond's focus is on chiropractic care and lameness. And today we're going to discuss chiropractic care. Tell us a little bit about the importance of chiropractic in your horses.
Chiropractic care is a manual therapy that focuses on joint motion. That's basically what it's about, is keeping joints moving within their correct range of motion. That's important, particularly for athletic horses, for obvious reasons, which is that you have to have flexibility in order to have strength and agility. I think it's also important, again, particularly in athletic horses, because it often lets you pick up on mechanical issues before they become lameness issues. So it puts you really in touch with the subtleties of their movement, and you can often get a jump on injuries that way.
Preventative.
Preventative is the name of the game.
Right.
That's what chiropractic really does. It doesn't fix a bowed tendon. It doesn't take away an ankle chip. What it does is maintain your horse and help to prevent injuries.
Okay. Well, you're going to do a chiropractic adjustment on Smarty here, so let's get started and you can explain to us as you go.
Okay. I usually begin actually with an acupuncture point exam, but because that's a whole topic unto itself, we'll sort of skip over that and just go straight to the chiropractic exam. So the diagnosis in chiropractic is based on what's called motion palpation, which is manually putting the joints through their normal range of motion and looking for joints that don't work correctly. I usually start with the limbs. Hi, Smarty. And I'm looking for flexion in his knee joint, flexion in his fetlock joint. The fetlock joint isn't exactly perfect, so we'll adjust his sesamoid bones and the fetlock joint and recheck the range of motion. And that's all good. We're motioning his shoulder joint, and that looks good as well. And that will be repeated basically on each of his four limbs. This knee isn't quite closing as it should, this being the knee right here. So we'll adjust that. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm. I sure did.
That's called an audible, and that's one of the effects, one of the side effects of an adjustment. It's just a sound of gases equilibrating in the joint. And you can see there that you end up with a much better range of motion in his knee. And the joints of the hind limb will be checked similarly. This particular horse has an injury in this right hind, so for right now we're just going to sort of avoid that joint and maybe come back and reassess the injury with different tools. The whole adjustment usually takes me personally about 45 minutes, depending on what your horse has, because as you can imagine, they have hundreds of joints and you're going through and manually moving each of them, so it can take a while. This is called a chiropractic veil, and this is the main tool of the trade. Most horses do okay with you being up above them on it, but we just kind of try to go slow the first time. He looks like he's actually about to fall asleep, so. And from up here, we're able to motion the joints of the pelvis, and also the joints first of the lumbar spine, and then as we move forward, the joints of the thoracic spine, which include at the very front the withers. So this first joint of his pelvis is called the sacroiliac joint, and it's not, although it is moving up and down, it's not quite as fluid in its range of motion as it should be, which brings up an interesting point, which is that sometimes joints are completely stuck, meaning they don't move at all, but more often what they have is a reduction in their range of motion. Again, subtlety, subtlety, subtlety.